My daughter-in-law called me trailer trash on TikTok while I was literally fighting for my life on an operating table. Yeah, that actually happened. Waking up to disrespect September 15th, 2024. Room 314, heart unit, Harvest Ridge Medical Center. I'm half coming out of anesthesia after a heart procedure that went sideways. Machines beeping, chest on fire, whole 9 yards. My son, Luke, is pacing the hallway like a worried golden retriever, and there's his wife, Brianna, parked in the corner with her iPhone held up. Perfect lashes, perfect lighting, whispering into the camera like she's on some reality show. Day 3 of freedom from the farm, she says. Papa Hank is finally knocked out so we can talk about upgrading our lives? Papa Hank, that's me. I kept my eyes shut and my breathing slow. Let her think I was out cold. She had no clue what she'd had just started. The farm she loves to hate her place sits on 200 acres outside Harvest Ridge, Iowa, about 40 minutes from Des Moines. My granddad bought it in 1924. The red barns, older than half the buildings in town. The farmhouse went up in '52. I was born that same year. It ain't fancy, but it's home. To me, it smells like cut hay, diesel, and coffee. To Brianna, this isn't a home, she told Luke. The first weekend they stayed over, it's a poverty museum. Brianna grew up calling her family old money. Her folks used to own a vineyard in California until the 2008 crash smacked them straight into normal life. They lost almost everything, but she never dropped the attitude. She drives a huge luxury SUV, carries bags that cost more than my first truck, and treats brand names like personality traits. Meanwhile, I am out here in a faded Carhartt jacket and an '88 Ford that rattles but still runs. Guess which one she puts on camera? Going viral off my broken life at first, it was little stuff, cute Instagram stories about country life and farm adventures. Then she discovered TikTok. She'd film my rotary phone and giggle. My father-in-law's literally from the Stone Age, y'all. Her followers loved it. Girl, how you surviving out there? Not rustic. That's just sad. The views climbed. The comments got meaner, and Brianna leaned in. 6 months later, her content turned from Lowell Farm to educational poverty tours. She filmed our kitchen with the old stove and yellowed cabinets. Generational poverty is real, y'all, she told her followers. Some families just accept being left behind. Brands started sending her stuff. Skincare, clothes, sponsorship deals. In our house, she was complaining about us holding Luke back. On TikTok, she was selling raw, authentic struggle. She called our handmade table furniture poverty. My old farming magazines. Hoarding behavior. Family photos on the mantle. A shrine to failure. Her biggest hit was a video where she stood in our living room and said, "This isn't humble living. It's giving up." That one hit millions of views. The local news even ran a piece about the farm family accidentally going viral. Folks at the diners started asking if I seen what your influencer daughter-in-law posted. Now, I just kept quiet. Old rule my dad taught me. Never wrestle in the mud with a pig. You both get dirty, and the pig enjoys it. Plotting while I was supposed to be dying. Fast forward back to the hospital. 3 days after surgery, I'm lying in bed pretending to nap when my phone buzzes. I grab it, hit record, and leave it on my chest under the blanket. Then I hear Brianna in the hallway, talking on her phone. "Hi, this is Brianna Miller. I'm calling about the property listing we discussed." Property listing. My heart monitor starts going crazy. Yes, the 200-acre farm on Maple Creek Road. My father-in-law is incapacitated. Heart surgery. Complications. We need to move fast while he can't interfere. She says that like she's ordering door. She tells the realtor the place is appraised around $900,000 and says, "Honestly, that's generous. This farm represents everything backwards about America." Old white farmers squatting on land while young families struggle. She calls me landlocked dead. Wait. Says Luke has power of attorney, and she just has to pitch it as the compassionate choice. Then she hits the extra low blow. At his age, with his health, he probably won't be making decisions much longer anyway. And she's pacing the hallway outside my room, like this is all just logistics. I lay their eyes shut, phone, recording, every word. She thought I was inches from the grave. I was just done giving her the benefit of the doubt. What she didn't know about poor old Hank, Brianna's biggest mistake. She judged me by my boots and pickup truck. She never bothered to ask what I'd been doing since the 80s besides planting corn. Back in 87, I bought a foreclosed house in town for cheap, fixed it myself, rented it out cheap, took that money, bought another one, kept going. By the mid-90s, I had a small little rental business going across 3 counties, not fancy, but steady. Then I started Miller Ridge Organics, not just regular corn and soybeans. Organics, specialty crops, direct contracts with grocery chains who wanted fresh, local stuff. By 2003, a major chain started buying from us every month. Right now, the Broke Farm pulls in around 6 figures a month in contracts. The rentals bring in more than most office managers make. All told, the land, the houses, the business, it adds up well into 8 figures on paper. I don't say that to brag. I say it because Brianna built her brand on the idea that I was dirt, poor, and clueless. Meanwhile, she's been living off money that ultimately traces back to my signature. And that's not even the wildest part. A few years back, when her parents were in trouble after the vineyard went under, a mystery investor quietly saved them from going under completely. That mystery investor was me. I didn't want credit. I just didn't like watching decent folks drown. Brianna never knew. Setting the board, I could have shut her down instantly. Lawyer up, block the sale, throw the recording in her face. Honestly, too easy. Instead, I called my attorney, my accountant, and the management company that handles a certain country club I bought when the old owners defaulted. No one knows I own it. Not even Brianna's parents, who, surprise, both work there now. I had them quietly pull every TikTok and Instagram post where she dragged my name. Every contract, deed, and charity record with Miller on it. Every policy about employee conduct, social media, and protecting the club's reputation. Then I talked to Luke. Son, do you trust your wife's version of our finances? He shifted, stared at the floor. I don't know anymore, Dad. Good. That's the first step. When the math stops mathing, you stop blindly believing. Internet starts turning on her a week later. She posts her masterpiece, Escaping Generational Poverty, How I'm Breaking the Cycle. She films my living room, the kitchen, my handwritten ledgers, calls my life learned helplessness. Says I've trapped Luke in some poverty mindset. The problem, she's wearing a designer sweater worth more than half the town's monthly mortgage. The internet finally notices. Comments start rolling in. How are you poor but driving a luxury SUV? The math ain't mathing, sis. You're dragging a man who literally gave you a roof. I didn't type any of that. I just watched with my coffee and let the algorithm do its thing. People can smell fake struggle from a mile away. The gala every year, our town has fancy folks hold a charity gala at that same country club I mentioned. Tickets cost more than my first car payment. The Miller Family Foundation quietly drops a big check there every year. Biggest sponsor. No press. No speeches. I like it that way. This year, Brianna decides she's going. New designer dress. New shoes. Hair and makeup done. Like she's walking a red carpet. She posts. Finally attending a classy event where I belong. No more pretending I'm part of the farm life. Hashtag leveling up. Hashtag high society. I almost choked laughing. She was bragging about attending an event So I asked the board if I could say a few words this year. They were thrilled. Big donor, finally, speaking. Of course, when performed Wealth Meets the Real Thing night of the gala, Luke and Brianna roll in with their SUV, dripping money they don't have. I roll in with my old truck and a rented tux. The room's full of people in black tie. Brianna's working tables, shaking hands, dropping content creator like it's a noble title. Then the club president hits the mic. We'd like to thank our platinum sponsor, the Miller Family Foundation, for a donation of $100,000. Brianna claps like she's at a concert. Until Hey adds, and we'd like to invite Mr. Hank Miller to the stage. You could hear a brain short circuit from the other side of the ballroom. I walk up, briefcase in hand. Evening, everybody. For those who don't know me, I'm Hank. I run a little farm outside town. Polite chuckles. I gesture to the projector. First slide! Deed to the country club. Some of you might not realize this place was about to shut down back in 2019. A small holding company bought it and kept everyone employed. That company's mine. You could see Brianna's parents. Go white. Next slides. Rental properties. Contracts from the organic business. Foundation donations to local causes. I keep my voice steady. There's been a lot of talk online lately about a poor old farmer stuck in the past. About a trailer trash family holding their son back. Then I click to the next slide. Screenshots of Brianna's TikToks, her words, her face, her captions. The room gasps. Her most brutal lines show up one by one. Poverty Museum. Why do old farmers hoard land? This isn't humble, it's pathetic. Then I show the last slide, a breakdown of how much the foundation and my businesses have quietly poured into her family as jobs, her grandmother's care, and the very roof over their heads. You could feel the energy shift completely. So when you see a 20-something on TikTok calling me trailer trash, I say, just remember, sometimes the guy in the old truck owns the parking lot. Dead silence. Then a couple people clap. Then a few more. Eventually the whole room is on their feet. I don't scream. I don't cuss. I just end with, real wealth doesn't need a ring light. It doesn't attack people who helped you. It just works. Quietly. And I walk back to my table. Fallout. Let me be clear. I didn't ruin Brianna's life. She did that herself. I just turned the lights on. The country club reviews their employee policies and decides they can keep staff whose families publicly trash talk into place. Owner, her parents get suspended first, not fired. I told the board to give them a chance to get their house in order. Foundation support for grandma put under review. Not slammed off, but frozen until we see whether the family can behave like grown adults instead of clout goblins. As for the apartment they lived in, lease terms get enforced. No public harassment of property owners isn't just pretty wording. Online, her influence evaporates. She deletes TikTok, then Instagram. Screenshots live forever though. And people repost them with captions like, when you find out the broke farmer owns half the town, Luke comes out to the barn a few days later. Dad, I'm sorry I didn't shut it down sooner. I tell him the truth. Son, love makes you blind. What matters is what you do after you finally see. He says Brianna wants counseling, wants to rebrand as someone who learned from her mistakes. I shrugged. People can change. But make sure she's changing as a person, not just pivoting her content strategy. The real generational wealth. Here's the part she actually got right. Generational wealth is real. But it's not the car. It's not the bag. It's not the follower count. It's the way you treat people. It's what you build when nobody's watching. It's how you act when you think someone can't fight back. Brianna built her image on top of my name. I built my life on top of my father's lessons. And in the end, that's what held. So yeah, my daughter-in-law called me trailer trash while I was flatlined. But when the dust settled, I still had my land. I still had my businesses. I still had my son. All she had was a bunch of deleted posts and a very public reminder. When you clown somebody for being broke, you better make sure they're not the one quietly signing the checks.